This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn more about weed resistance and control with Duane Toews and Jim Lappin.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Jim Lappin with AMVAC. Jim, we think about row crop and production agriculture. We constantly have challenges to deal with. One of the biggest as of late has been getting good weed control. There's a number of reasons for that.
Yeah, with resistance is not a new issue. We've seen it over the years repeat itself, and what happens is we overuse one mode of action, and when we've done that, we use the same mode of action over and over. It takes about 6 or 7 years, and resistance rears its head. It's Mother Nature saying, you know, the strong will survive. And some of these weeds are very robust, they're very prolific, and they're very adaptive. So what we've been able to do is with products like Impact and Impact Z, we can talk to growers around, sit down with your trusted advisor, talk about the weed pressures you're seeing. Harvest is a great time to assess your weed control success or failures and say, I know I need to address these weeds in this area. Weeds don't move so much year to year. If you got them there this year, good chance they're going to be there next year. So when you sit down with your trusted advisor, you need to have a couple of things. I want a reliable tool. I want something that gives me some flexibility. I don't always have the same kind of open window to apply my herbicides. This last year certainly proved that point. So sometimes I may go out there with a plan pre, a plan sequential, or I may be looking at a total post program, or I may need to do some of all of those. Impact and Impact Z give you the flexibility. So whether it's a plan sequential or a plan post emergence product, if that window doesn't present itself, we have the flexibility to either tank mix with residual partners. Our Impact label allows us to go anytime from weed emergence up to 45 days before harvest. So you have a very wide window of application. So you still have a tool to go out and address the weeds irregardless of what Mother Nature presents to you. It controls 15 of the glyphosate resistant weeds out there. It gives you both grass and broadleaf control with or without glyphosate. So a lot of growers are looking at and saying, well, I'm thinking about conventional corn this year because, you know, the traits are just a little more expensive than I want to spend. Impact gives you not only excellent crop safety, it gives you the ability to go out there and say, here's a grass control tool for my conventional corn. If I go to a traded hybrid where I can either use glyphosate or glufosinate, it gives me another mode of action on grasses and broadleaves over and above that of the glyphosate or glufosinate. So again, lots of flexibility, reliable for performance. It didn't matter where I went this last year, from the East Coast to the middle part of the U.S., from northernmost Minnesota to Louisiana, our products performed very well in this last season in some less than ideal conditions. So a grower can count on the performance of Impact and Impact Z. Impact Z is just a convenient premix of Impact plus atrazine. They have the flexibility to add a residual partner like Harness or your metolachlor type products. You can go out there and do a one-shot early post, use them as a sequential, or quite frankly, use them in a total post program.
Other issues that we look at and think about, nematodes have become a bigger issue, and they're a little bit hard to understand in terms of that damage and how it affects the plant.
Yeah, nematodes are hard to, they're hard to see, they're microscopic, so you can't go out and do a root dig and see nematodes. They tend to lend themselves to more sandy soil situations. The national statistic is somewhere around 17 to 20% of most cornfields are having nematode pressure. So in Kansas, we see a lot of growers that have chosen Counter granular insecticide. Counter is unique in that it's actually a systemic product, so it's applied in the furrow, but it's physically taken up as you get rainfall. It moves in the soil moisture, it's physically taken into the plant. So as that root system grows and develops, the Counter moves with that growth and gives you protection against not only corn rootworm and seed attacking pests, but also against a broad range of nematodes. Now, nematodes, if they're not field wide, but where you have the damage, you can see damage up to 30% yield loss. So it's critical that you think proactively about nematodes. You can soil sample for nematodes ahead of time to see if you have a problem. If you've identified problems in your field, you can go out there with a Counter type application and make sure you're getting the best nematode control that's out there.
All right, thanks to Jim Lappin with AMVAC joining us here with an agronomy update on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about grain bin safety. And did you know that February 17th through the 23rd is Grain Bin Safety Week? Have you thought, what do you do to keep your employees safe?